I think it crosses all of our minds at some point in time. So, I take it for what it's worth. I'm sure it's probably crossed his mind more than once, but, we haven't talked about that one bit. Like I said, right now it's just game by game is how we're going to try to approach it, and we just go from there. I think he'll probably, tackle that issue once this season is all said and done.
When that time does come, how do you replace one of the greatest all-time players ever?
You don't. What you got to do is get added pieces. You can't get one guy to come in and replace Kobe Bryant. It can't be done. So you got to get a multitude of guys to be able to do that. So, like you said, when it comes, we'll deal with that situation. But right now, he's still here, and, he still plays as hard as anybody, and he can still deliver. So we just deal with it when it comes.
Go back in time when you retired. What went through your thought process in making that decision?
Well, the first thing is it's a very hard decision to make. When you love the game as much as I did at that time and as much as I know he does, it's tough to say to yourself that it's over, and that you got to go on to something else. But, realization sometimes sets in, and you got to kind of take it for what it's worth. And my thought process basically was that I can't do this anymore. My body just can't react the way I want it to. My mind is still nice and sharp, but my body's not doing what I want it to do. And, you just start thinking about other things in life that you want to do. You want to try to, watch your kids grow up. At that time I was 36, so, I had small kids, so I wanted to watch them grow up. But you also want to think about things that you want to do in your second life or your second career. And for me, it was coaching.
20 games, you made some lineup changes. Now you just got through the next 20 games. Any lineup changes in the making?
Not right now. Not right now. Still trying to just put together some pieces and see how it see how that kind of plays out. But in the immediate future, like the next 2 or 3 games, no, not right now.
Will Kobe Bryant make this road trip the 3-game road trip?
Yes, he will. But that doesn't mean he'll play Monday or Wednesday or Friday. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it again tomorrow.
Did he participate today?
No, came in today, got his treatment, and that's all we needed him to do. And like I said, we'll go from there.
Can you give us an update on Ronnie Price?
Same thing. Came in today, got his treatment. With him tomorrow is the same as Kobe. Not the same as Kobe, but we'll see how he feels tomorrow. To be honest with you, with Ronnie, I'm thinking more of setting him down one more game and then see how that thing reacts. He says it feels much better, but he hasn't shot a basketball either. I want to give him about another day if I can, or 2, just to see how he reacts on Wednesday. So we'll go from there.
Nick had a good night the other night offensively. How did he adjust his game?
Well, he got to the free throw line. That was the biggest thing. They fouled him on a couple of 3-point shots that he took, but he got to the free throw line, didn't take as many bad shots, and I think that's one of his keys. You got to understand what's a good shot and what's a bad shot.
Any further test on Ronnie?
No further tests. We had the MRI and all that stuff, last week, so we know, first of all, a lot of it is just, wear and tear. 10-year, vet in the NBA, being hit and bumped, and the way he plays, he's always, not always, but he hits the ground a lot, because he takes charges, so he falls on those elbows a lot too. So it's just a product of years of playing in the NBA. That's basically what it is.
Any real concern that it could be something a little more long-term?
Not really. I think it's more concerned if he can play with some of the pain that he's probably going to incur during the game when he gets hit on it again. And again, one thing we're trying to do is make it calm down as much as possible so that he doesn't have that discomfort when he's playing. Because like I said, it was pretty obvious against Cleveland that it was bothering him. So to give him 3 or 4 days off, I think hopefully can really help him.
Nick was out there shooting threes. Is that something you asked him to do?
No,
told him to do?
No, he was just out just getting shots up. Yeah. No, I didn't ask him to do it.
Encouraging sign for you that he's doing that?
Yeah. That he's working on it. Yeah, we just had a pretty good scrimmage that was going on where guys were going at it pretty good. So, he stayed after to get some more shots up. I think that is encouraging.
Coach, what concerns you most about Phoenix?
Those 3-point guards. Those 3 guys are good. And playing against point guards has been our Achilles heel. One of them at least. Those guys get in the paint and they can score and they can dance on you, and they're all very good with the ball, making plays for themselves and their teammates. So we got to try to corral those guys as much as possible.